Some songs don't begin when the singer opens their mouth. They begin the moment the needle touches the record. They move through the room first. They dim the lights. They slow the heartbeat. And before you realize it, they're carrying you somewhere you haven't been in years.
Listen to your heart tonight.
Those are the songs you never forget. When we released part 1 of this countdown, thousands of you reminded us that the slow burn never ends. There were more stories to tell, more records that still know exactly how to change the atmosphere. So tonight, we're opening the door one more time.
And a house is not a home when there's no one there.
12 more records built on patience, atmosphere, and the kind of intimacy that only soul music can create. Welcome back to Retro Vinyl. These are 12 more R&B masterpieces that mastered the art of the slow burn records. Major Harris, Love Won't Let Me Wait, 1975. Major Harris did not arrive at this song accidentally. He had paid serious dues, singing with Frankie Lyman's Teenagers, the Germals, and then a stretch as a member of the Delphonics in Philadelphia before leaving to go solo in 1974. To Atlantic Records and walked into the legendary Sigma Sound studio to record, the producers made one specific creative decision that changed everything. They turned off most of the lights. The session was lit by a single small lamp on Harris's music stand. It was designed on purpose, and when the tape rolled, what you hear in the background during the instrumental breaks is not manufactured. It is a woman's real, unscripted reaction to what was happening in that room. Love Won't Let Me Wait hit number 1 on the R&B chart and number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1975. Billboard ranked it the 24th biggest song of the entire year. Was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA, in June 1975. Several radio stations flagged it immediately. Some pulled it from rotation because of what they could hear behind the music. None of that stopped it. Major Harris died in November 2012, at 65, from congestive heart failure. He left behind exactly one record that makes every room go very, very quiet. He turned the lights down in the studio and let the tape run. The next man on this list turned a single title into an entire radio format, and did it completely by accident.
Our source of tender force.
11. Smokey Robinson, Quiet Storm, 1975.
Soft and warm, a quiet storm.
By 1975, Smokey Robinson had something to prove. He had left the Miracles, the group he had co-founded, the group whose harmonies had defined a decade at Motown, and his first 2 solo albums had not delivered the moment his talent promised.
Quiet as when flowers talk at break of dawn.
Then he sat down with guitarist Marv Tarplin, the same man who had played the opening riff on The Tracks of My Tears, and they built something entirely different. Smokey later explained the concept himself. People considered me to be a quiet singer, so I said to myself, I'd like to go back and take the business by storm. The storm, that wind, that thunder, was blowing through everything, through the entire album, through my entire life. His sister helped him complete the title track.
Generating, radiating, turn me on.
He built the album around a synthesized storm effect that opened and closed every song like a weather system passing through.
Shower me with your sweet love.
The song re-established Smokey as a singular creative force and revitalized his solo career completely. But the legacy goes much further than his chart position.
It's storm blowing.
In 1976, a student DJ named Melvin Lindsay at Howard University radio station WUR FM in Washington, D.C., adopted the song as his show's theme music.
You touch me and suddenly there's rainbow rings.
Radio 1 founder Kathy Hughes, who was WUR's station manager at the time, gave him his own late-night slot. They named the show after the song. Within a few years, virtually every R&B station in America had adopted a version of the format for its evening programming.
Suddenly I'm caught up in your rain.
Smokey Robinson wrote a slow jam. The world built an entire radio genre around it.
Through the night. Blow, blow, blow.
Smokey gave a format its name. The next entry gave a movement its sound, without saying a single word.
Blow, baby.
10. Art of Noise, Moments in Love, 1983-1985. The Art of Noise were not supposed to exist in a seductive R&B countdown. They were a faceless, anonymous avant-garde electronic collective from London. No lead singer, no photographs, no press interviews. Producer Trevor Horn, journalist Paul Morley, and programmer J.J. Jazalik built the group around the idea that music could be constructed entirely from sampled fragments, layered textures, and pure sound design. Horn said later that the group began as nothing more than studio experimentation, just screwing around while recording other projects. Paul Morley came up with the name Art of Noise, came up with the title Moments in Love, and they built the song around it. Their anonymity was so complete that when they won a Best Black Act award at a ceremony in the United States in 1984, Morley later said, "I made my excuses." The full version of Moments in Love runs over 11 minutes and contains 0 vocals, nothing, no lyrics, no voice, just a slow-building synth landscape that moves through the room like weather. It appeared on their 1985 single release and was used in the soundtrack to the film Pumping Iron 2 that same year. It became a staple at weddings, in clubs, and on late-night radio formats across 2 decades. DJ duo James Murphy and Soulwax famously opened their Despacio sound system events with it to this day. A group of anonymous British electronic experimenters accidentally made one of the most romantic records in the history of recorded music, and they never had to say a word to do it. They said nothing and made everyone feel everything. The next artist said plenty and made an entire audience question whether they were ready for it. 9. Bobby Caldwell, What You Won't Do for Love, 1978.
I guess you wonder where I've been.
Bobby Caldwell spent 6 years in Los Angeles playing bar bands and cold-calling record labels before TK Records in Miami finally signed him in 1978. He spent 10 months recording his debut album.
I searched to find love within.
When the label heard the finished product, they told him it was missing a hit. He went back into the studio for 2 days and wrote What You Won't Do for Love almost immediately.
I came back to let you know.
TK Records loved it, but they had a problem. Their bread was buttered on black radio, and Caldwell was white with shoulder-length blonde hair. Their solution was to keep his face entirely off the album cover.
Got a thing for you, and I can't let go.
Caldwell himself designed the solution. He traced a photograph of himself sitting on a park bench and filled it in as a silhouette. No face, no race, just a man on a bench and the most soulful voice on the radio.
My friends wonder what is wrong with me. Well, I'm in.
The strategy worked completely. The song debuted on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart in October 1978, embraced by black radio nearly 3 months before it touched the pop chart.
Well, I'm in the days from your love, you see.
It eventually peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 6 on the R&B chart. When Caldwell toured with Natalie Cole and walked on stage in Cleveland to an audience of 7,000 who had come to hear soul brother Bobby Caldwell, he said the room went completely silent. Then he sang, and within 10 minutes, they were entirely in his pocket.
What you won't do for love.
Tupac sampled the song for his posthumous hit, Do for Love. The Notorious B.I.G. sampled another Caldwell track for Sky's the Limit. When Bobby Caldwell died in March 2023 at 71, his wife made a specific and deliberate point of addressing the black community in her statement, because they were the ones who had heard him, accepted him, and built his entire career.
In my world, only you.
He hid his face and let the music speak. The next man needed no introduction. His voice was the most recognizable instrument in the room before he opened his mouth. 8. Barry White, Never, Never Gonna Give Ya Up, 1973.
I've got to keep you pleased in every way I can.
Barry White grew up in South Los Angeles, where he joined a gang at the age of 10. At 17, he was arrested for stealing $30,000 worth of Cadillac tires and spent 4 months in jail.
Gonna give you all of me as much as you can stand.
He later said that while he was incarcerated, he heard Elvis Presley singing It's Now or Never on the radio, and it changed the direction of his life completely. He came out of prison and started working his way into the music industry as a songwriter and arranger, spending years behind the scenes producing records for other artists.
Make love to you right now, that's all I want to do.
When he finally began recording demos of songs intended for a male singer, his manager heard the playback and told him directly, "That voice needs to be in front of the microphone." White was reluctant. He preferred the studio side. He eventually agreed, and that reluctant decision changed the history of romantic soul music.
I know you need it, girl, and you know I need it too.
Never, Never Gonna Give Ya Up was released in 1973 as a single from his second album, Stone Gone. It hit number 2 on the R&B chart and number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100, earning gold certification.
I found what the world is searching for.
Barry White went on to accumulate 20 gold and 10 platinum singles across his career, with worldwide record sales exceeding 100 million.
Yeah, right here, my dear. I don't have to look no more.
His deep bass voice became so synonymous with seduction that it transcended music and became a cultural shorthand, referenced in films, television, and advertising for decades after his death in 2003.
Never, never gonna give you up. I'm never, ever gonna stop.
He started with nothing. He ended with everything. He convinced the world with nothing but his voice. What Comes Next convinced the world with 4 men and 1 room, and someone famous almost missed the session entirely.
Not the way I feel about you, girl. I just can't live without you.
7. Quincy Jones, The Secret Garden, 1989.
The reason why you know your deepest feeling.
Quincy Jones assembled the most improbable supergroup in the history of late-night R&B. For his 1989 album Back on the Block, he brought Barry White, I'll Be Sure, James Ingram, and El DeBarge into the same studio and built a song around each of them taking a turn. One voice handing the room to the next, each trying to outdo what just happened.
I wanna make it right for you.
The song was written by Jones, Rod Temperton, Sade Garrett, and El DeBarge. James Ingram got the call when Stevie Wonder could not make the session. And here is the detail that still stops people cold. According to I'll Be Sure in a 2018 interview, Michael Jackson was originally supposed to appear on the track. Scheduling conflicts prevented it.
I've got the secret key.
Sure said, "For a long time, people thought the very first verse was Michael Jackson, and that's only because I Michael'd out."
Listen to your heart tonight.
The Secret Garden peaked at #1 on the Billboard Black Singles Chart for 1 week in 1990. It reached number 31 on the Hot 100.
Harmonizing ecstasy.
Barry White opens the song with 2 words in that unmistakable bass baritone, "Tell me a secret," and the room never fully recovers from those 4 syllables.
Let me lay beside you. Do what you want me to.
The song became a staple for every R&B act that toured through the 90s. Barry White's interjection near the end, "You know I've never wanted anyone as much as I want you," still plays like a confession that was never meant to be recorded.
I've never wanted anyone as much as I.
Michael Jackson was supposed to be on this track. He wasn't. And somehow it is still perfect. 4 legends in one room. And before we move on, let me ask you something. Be honest, is there a voice in music more instantly recognizable than Barry White's? Let us know in the comments. We're willing to bet there are a few strong opinions on that one.
Take me when you.
7 songs down, and the slow burn is only getting started.
Tonight I'm in a romantic mood.
By now, you probably already have a favorite. So tell us, which song has hit you the hardest so far? And more importantly, which one takes you back to a person, a place, or a moment you can still see as clearly as yesterday?
Soft and warm, a quiet storm.
If you're enjoying the journey, subscribe to Retro Vinyl and come along with us. Because the second half of this countdown doesn't just get deeper, it gets personal.
Say no, honey, not tonight.
The next entry is one man, and one of the most raw, unguarded vocal performances ever captured on tape.
Tonight I'm in a sexy mood. Ooh, ooh.
6. Teddy Pendergrass, Turn Off the Lights, 1979.
Turn off the lights and light a candle.
Teddy Pendergrass started singing gospel solos at the age of 2.5. He became an ordained Baptist minister at 10 years old. By the time he was performing his women-only concerts in the late 1970s, sold-out shows where the audience was exclusively female and the energy bordered on revival, he had built a live persona that nobody in R&B had ever seen before.
Let's take a shower together.
His drummer, James Carter, described it plainly. He wasn't built like Arnold Schwarzenegger or nothing. He came out in that wife-beater t-shirt and they went crazy. We didn't understand it. I don't even think he understood it.
Me down in some hot oils, baby.
The Isley Brothers took note. In 1980, they released Don't Say Goodnight, It's Time for Love, in direct response to the cultural space Turn Off the Lights had created.
Girl, I wanna give you a special treat. You've been so sweet.
An entire generation of artists, Jodeci, Ginny Wine, Tyrese, Janet Jackson, Miguel, owe their stage seduction template to what Teddy built in those rooms.
You're the only one in the world that I need.
Turn Off the Lights appeared on his 1979 album Teddy, which stayed at #1 on the Billboard R&B Albums chart for 8 weeks, and was named the second biggest R&B album of the entire year.
I wanna love you
I wanna love you all over.
The song itself became one of the defining slow jams of the Quiet Storm era. Pendergrass had 5 consecutive platinum albums between 1977 and 1981, a record at the time for any solo R&B artist. He was the first black solo artist to achieve that.
Whisper sweet words of love in your ear.
When he walked out on that stage in a tank top, he was not performing seduction. He was simply being exactly who he was, and that was more than enough.
Show you how much I miss you, man.
He commanded every room he ever walked into. The next man walked into a room with a Burt Bacharach song from 1964 and turned it into something that made the woman who recorded the original version cry.
See, you got what I want. I got what you want. Give it here.
5. Luther Vandross. A House Is Not a Home, 1981.
A chair is still a chair.
Luther Vandross spent years invisible. He was one of the most in-demand background session singers in New York City. His voice appeared on records by Chaka Khan, Bette Midler, and Barbra Streisand, on jingles for Burger King, KFC, and Juicy Fruit, on the opening themes of Broadway shows, and almost nobody knew his name.
House is not a home when there's no one there.
Roberta Flack heard him at a sound check rehearsal and reportedly told him, politely but directly, that he should stop doing background work and get his own record deal. He shopped demos to label after label.
And one of us has a role.
In 1981, Epic Records signed him after hearing a single song from a 2-track demo. He was 30 years old. His debut album Never Too Much included, as its final track, a 7-minute version of a 1964 Burt Bacharach and Hal David ballad that Dionne Warwick had recorded for a film soundtrack.
Now and then I call your name.
Most people had barely noticed the original. Luther rebuilt it from the ground up, slower, fuller, more devastating, and made it his own.
And the two of us, we are far apart.
When Luther performed A House Is Not a Home live at the 1988 National Association for the Advancement of Colored People NAACP Image Awards, Dionne Warwick was in the audience. She wept.
Don't let one mistake keep us apart.
Burt Bacharach later wrote in his autobiography that Luther's version was the best recording of the song he had ever heard. Kanye West sampled it for slow jams in 2003, introducing it to an entirely new generation.
Are you gonna be in love with me?
The album Never Too Much hit #1 on the R&B albums chart and has been certified double platinum. Luther Vandross took another man's song, recorded 17 years before his version, and claimed it so completely that most people today think he wrote it.
I was wrong and I know it. Forgive me, 'cause I
He turned someone else's song into his own masterpiece. The next artist turned her own heartbreak into a 7-minute underwater film and made the world feel like it was drowning right along with her. 4. Sade, No Ordinary Love, 1992. Sade Adu was born in Ibadan, Nigeria, and raised in Essex, England. After her parents separated when she was 4, she studied fashion design at St. Martin's School of Art in London before music found her. She joined a friend's band almost casually, and the band eventually became Sade. By 1992, the group had been silent for 4 years following the Stronger Than Pride tour. When they returned with Love Deluxe, they opened it with a 7-minute track that sounded like nothing they had made before. Darker, heavier, more oceanic, with a guitar riff that music critics compared to metal and a programmed beat that seemed to breathe between the snare hits. The music video, directed by Sophie Muller, shows Sade as a mermaid who sews herself a wedding dress on the ocean floor and swims to the surface looking for a man who is no longer there. No Ordinary Love peaked at number 28 on the Billboard Hot 100 and entered the top 20 in the UK, France, the Netherlands, and Finland.
Keep crying.
When it appeared in the 1993 film Indecent Proposal starring Demi Moore and Robert Redford, it re-entered the UK chart and climbed to number 14, besting its original chart position.
There's nothing like you and I, baby.
Sade won the Grammy Award for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals in 1994. Rolling Stone included the song in their 500 Best Songs of All Time in 2024.
Keep trying for you.
The Deftones recorded a cover version of it and said they almost never released it because the original felt like sacred ground. Some records are untouchable. This is one of them.
This is no ordinary love.
She built a cathedral out of heartbreak and bass. The next group built theirs out of conflict, internal, unresolved, and somehow still perfect.
This is no ordinary love.
3. Isley Brothers, Between the Sheets, 1983. By 1983, the Isley Brothers were in trouble. Their two previous albums had failed commercially and produced no hit singles.
I wanna keep you here. Lay it back to me.
Internally, the group was fracturing. The older brothers Ronald, Rudolph, and O'Kelly were clashing with the younger brothers Ernie and Marvin and their brother-in-law Chris Jasper over money, musical direction, and creative control.
Sharing our love between the sheets.
The rift was real, and it was not getting better, and then Marvin Gaye released Sexual Healing. The younger Isleys heard it and knew immediately what direction they needed to go. They returned to Bearsville Studios and built Between the Sheets as a direct creative response, a quiet storm funk record that was deliberately stripped down, built on synthesizer and hand claps instead of the fuller arrangements they had used before. Ronald Isley sang over the tension like it wasn't there. You cannot hear the arguments in the music, you can only hear the groove. The song hit number 3 on the Billboard R&B chart and sent the album to number 1 on the R&B Albums chart, their first platinum album since 1978. The younger brothers left the group entirely after the tour was finished. They went on to form Isley Jasper Isley. The track they recorded on their way out has since been sampled in over 179 documented songs. The Notorious B.I.G.'s Big Papa, Gwen Stefani's Luxurious, Whitney Houston's One of Those Days, Jay-Z's Ignorant Sheer. It plays on Bounce FM in Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas. They recorded one of the greatest bedroom records in history in the middle of a family breakdown. Sometimes conflict makes the art better. They made perfection on the way out the door. How many of you first heard this song through a sample before you ever heard the original? The next group walked in through a different door entirely, one that a rapper held open for them at exactly the right moment. 2. Jodeci, Come and Talk to Me, 1991.
I've been watching you for so very long.
Devontae Swing was 16 years old when he took a bus to Minneapolis and showed up at Prince's Paisley Park Studios every day for a week, asking for an audition. The receptionist turned him away each time.
Trying to get my nerve built up to be so strong.
He went back to Charlotte, North Carolina, improved his production skills, formed Jodeci with his brother Dalvin and the Haley brothers Kasai and JoJo, and built a 29-song demo across 3 cassette tapes.
I really want to meet you, but I'm kind of scared.
The four of them drove to New York City and found the offices of Uptown Records. They were almost turned away again until rapper Heavy D walked past the hallway, overheard the tape playing, and told Uptown president Andre Harrell to hear the group.
"'Cause you're the kind of lady with so much class."
Harrell heard them, signed them on the spot. The group was assigned to a young in-house executive named Sean Combs to develop their image.
I get my thoughts together for the very next day.
Dalvin DeGrate later confirmed that "Come and Talk to Me" was the first song Devontae wrote for the album, written for a specific girl named Monica, with Devontae playing every single instrument on the track himself.
But when I see you, lady, I forget what you said.
The song was co-produced with Al B. Sure and released in March 1992 as the fourth single from their debut album. It spent 2 weeks at #1 on the Billboard R&B chart and topped the R&B year-end chart for all of 1992.
The way you dress and walk, it really turns me on.
The debut album, Forever My Lady, sold over 3 million copies in the United States and 8 million worldwide.
Come on, come on, come on, come and talk to me. I really.
What most people do not know is that Devontae Swing's Swing Mob Collective, the creative house he built from Jodeci's success, is where Missy Elliott, Timbaland, and Genuine were all first developed. Complex magazine ranked Jodeci #1 on their 1990s male R&B group Pyramid of Excellence in 2014. The kid who got turned away from Paisley Park built something Prince would have respected.
There you are again, with the same smile each day.
Before we get to the final record, did your #1 already appear, or is it still waiting in the wings? And also, which one of these songs doesn't just remind you of a memory, but actually takes you back there?
Make It Last is a classic, and nobody can change that.
1. Keith Sweat, Make It Last Forever, 1987.
Let me hear you tell me, darling. Let me hear you say it.
Keith Sweat and Teddy Riley first crossed paths at a Battle of the Bands competition in New York City. Riley's group, Total Climax, defeated Sweat's group, Jamila.
Ooh, girl, that will make me feel alright.
They reconnected later when Sweat found Riley on the street playing dice with friends, got into the game, and won everyone's money, except Riley's. From that moment, they started working together.
Let me hear you tell me, oh, baby. Let me hear you say you never.
Riley had never made R&B music before. He was a hip-hop producer. When the two began building the album, Riley told Sweat to sing "I Want Her" in a nasal tone to create a sound unlike anyone else in the format. Sweat walked out of the room. He refused. Riley convinced him it would work. Sweat came back. He recorded it with the nasal delivery, and that voice, that specific, almost whining urgency, became one of the most distinctive vocal signatures in the history of New Jack Swing. The album Make It Last Forever was released on November 24, 1987. It hit #1 on the R&B albums chart for 3 weeks, reached number 15 on the Billboard 200, and was certified triple platinum by 1994.
Don't let our love
The title track peaked at #2 on the R&B chart. Recently, nearly 40 years after the sessions, Teddy Riley publicly stated he was paid only $1,500 for his production work on the album and received no royalties. Sweat responded on Instagram, "You produced or we produced together." Riley later apologized and said directly, "Keith and I, we built a culture. We built a sound. We built New Jack Swing." A dice game, a walkout, a reluctant falsetto, and a $1,500 paycheck. That is how one of the most important debut albums in R&B history got made. 12 records, 12 different stories. and one reminder that the most powerful songs are rarely the loudest ones.
Soft and warm, a quiet storm.
These records didn't chase attention, they whispered, they lingered, they stayed in the room long after the music stopped. And that is why, decades later, they still mean something.
I came back to let you know.
Maybe one of these songs reminded you of your first love. Maybe it took you back to a slow dance, a late night drive, or someone you haven't thought about in years. That's the magic of great R&B. It doesn't just play, it remembers for us. Now it's your turn. Which of these 12 songs already lives on your playlist? And which one are you adding tonight? And if we missed one that deserves a warning label, leave it in the comments. You might just inspire part 3.
Make love to you right now, that's all I wanna do.
This is Retro Vinyl. Until next time, keep the needle on the record, keep the memories close, and keep the volume exactly where it belongs.
I love